Oh, that was spicy. I didn't see the new indent. That was really cool. But welcome back to NECC. I'm Binks, joined by Chief, and we have an absolute crazy Rainbow Six Siege Champions division. So you know what's up there, and it's going to be U Ottawa Gray taking on St. Clair State. So Chief, I think we got a pretty big matchup coming up.
Oh, 100% Binks. I just want to say that new introduction is as fresh looking as your new haircut.
Chief, you noticed, dude.
I always
I,
notice, my friend. How could I possibly miss? And my hair is a little disheveled and discombobulated today, but you know what? I don't think any of our teams are going to be discombobulated today, especially St. Clair Saints. They had a dominant performance in week number 3. They only dropped 3 rounds across the best of 3, going only to 2 maps. A dominant performance from them, but University of Ottawa, they had a big player that they played in week number 3. That was Purdue, one of the top seeded teams in collegiate right now, third rated actually, and they ended up losing that series in a best of 2, or only 2 maps.
that would match the records that I do have over here as well. Chief, I actually want to get your opinion on the maps as well, because I do believe you have a lot more insight than I do into these two teams. What
Expect
maps do you
Oregon.
think yeah, besides Oregon, Chief?
No, and I'm not being facetious with Oregon. Like, we're
I know
actually going to
I
see
know
like
we're gonna
St.
see
Clair go
Oregon.
to Oregon because they're good on Oregon. It's not like the extra like collegiate spice that we always get. Right? You play cafe, Borrigan, and clubhouse because that's what you get in collegiate. But I promise you, St. Clair is actually going there not because they're just like uber comfortable. They actually have a very deep map pool. In fact, they are a top 25 nationally rated roster. So they have a good map pool. They have a 7 map pool, which will have to upgrade to 9 shortly. But expect Oregon, my friend.
Well, I'm expecting to see that, and I'm looking forward into just really digesting and analyzing each of these deep strats that you are talking about. But you, Ottawa Gray, I don't believe we've talked about them too much. The record is 0-1. They did lose. Oh, you already mentioned that, didn't you? You mentioned you, Ottawa Gray.
I did. Good
Chief,
morning,
I just had a.
Binks. Good morning, my friend. You know what? I think we're going to wake you up a bit. Take me
Thank you.
through the
Thank you.
U Ottawa roster. Tell me who's on this team, and let's
That I
welcome
can
in
do.
the challenger.
That I can do. So we can welcome them in. We have Tommy. We have Okay, sure. Nacho. We have, and it does look quite complex, Chief, but is DKMD. So
Correct.
exactly how you look at it, and then DJ. So thank you to you, Otto, for making it very easy for me to see your names. I do really appreciate that part. But if we look at their actual majors, we have business, finance, engineering, health science, software engineer, and a nice range. Only missing a senior to be able to complete the all 4 years of a bachelor's degree.
Well, you know what? Let's go over to St. Clair Saints, where I'll promise you'll see all the grade levels being represented. You have seniors down to freshmen. It's Rapid, Kinger, JMB, Shares, and Salt Boy Jesus. And as promised, not everybody is represented in the 4 years. No juniors on the side of the St. Clair Saints.
Wow. Esports administration and entrepreneurship. I wonder why they're playing esports, Chief.
Huh.
It's
Is
almost
that
like it's
because
a
they're an
really big
admin
interest.
in finance, right?
I think so. I think so. Wow. That's
Big
actually
brain.
really cool that's 3 players on their team, esports administration. Wow. I tip my hat to that. That's actually phenomenal that you guys are able to continue with that. But I think the next thing on our minds, we already talked about it briefly, is actually going to be our map bans and where we are going to be able to see these teams play. So, right,
I lied
if
to
we
you,
have,
actually. We're not going to have the map bans right now. Our link has dissolved, and fortunately, there are some software engineers in this lobby, so we're just going to wait on the 3 maps that we're going to be playing momentarily. But sadly, we're going to have to hop on the phone with the Ottawa University members and see if they can, fix things for us.
oh, well, that will work. Well, you know
Oh, good
what?
news!
What?
No Borrigan today. Villa, Clubhouse, and Chalet. Binks, my heart is warmed by the fact that we're not going to have the Collegian Special. One of my favorite comp maps is going to be in the pool. Technically, actually, I love all 3. It's going to be interesting because Villa is a staple in the collegiate pool. It is very default. It has the standard lanes that most players are going to be expecting. And really what separates Villa from the other maps is that vertical play, bringing out the buck, because this is a map where I really don't like Mira being banned, because if you're enterprising enough, you can use soft destruction from the Buck Skeleton Key, the Zofia Impact Launcher, the Ash Impact Launcher, or heck, even a Frag Grenade.
And that's completely forgetting to mention the fact that a lot of these guns have amazing destructibility. If you know your place well enough on Villa, a shotgun, or let's say all these operators that have a pocket shotgun, can now be utilized to such great degree. But unfortunately, you Ottawa are going to ban out the Mira. It does seem like more of a wasted ban, but not completely. As Mira, as much as we said, now you don't have to go down below as much. You're now able to go directly towards site, not needing to clear out such a potent operator. And there you go. This more or less repeats what I see in my ranked games. But regardless, I think this is a pretty comfortable map ban, or sorry, not Batman, character ban for our first map.
One thing, though, that is concerning me already, it's that Jackal ban for one reason. St. Clair Saints are going to be a very aggressive team. We talked about their collegiate ecosystem experience playing in Face It Collegiate, CR6, CEA, and from that experience, they've been able to challenge the best teams in the United States. We talked about Purdue earlier, but what about Akron, GCU, NC State, and through osmosis, they've learned how to be very aggressive. With Jackal already being banned, and we can kind of see that echoed in the operator lineup with Valkyrie in play, it is going to be the stances of St. Clair to hold map control and fight for as long as possible. I'm actually surprised we saw that 6-pick away from the Ela, because expect the Scorpion Evo at some point.
I think that being able to play with that aggressiveness is going to be one of the main characteristics of both of these universities. It's going to be very timed. And if we look on the U Ottawa side, if they are no longer able to contend and be able to take that map control because it's being denied at every single turn by St. Clair Saints, that is going to be such a major turning point where they are going to have to change something up. And it's all going to come down to who is going to be the trendsetter in this match. Is it going to be St. Clair? Is it going to be you, Ottawa? Normally, we will see that it is going to be the defenders because they have the opportunity to choose the site and the setup. But only time will tell.
Information will be key in the defense of St. Clair. We're going to see those 3 Valkyrie cameras spread throughout the map as information gathering sources being. So what we're going to do is we're going to be placing those cameras in elevated positions or very low positions out of the line of sight of the Ottawa Grey offense. And from there, it's just going to be a stream of relayed information. And what St. Clair can do with that, Binks, is you can dispatch a nitrocell from below. You can challenge through an aggressive peek around the door frame, or you can have a comfortable roam like what Rapid is doing over near Deer. So what Rapid is going to do, he's going to wait for a drone to pass him, either shoot it on by or continue to rat in that corner. And you're talking about players and attackers with pocket shotguns. Look who's actually entering into the lineup right now. It is a gridlock, but we have to talk about Rapid's knife in the back, followed up by the 416, and he's not done yet. Unfortunately, though, he'll meet cold steel in the bathtub.
Yeah, it was a pretty astounding way to rotate around Trophy, and it definitely did put a thorn in the side of you, Ottawa. But the next contender is going to be JMB's. Also, Kinger, who's going to be able to take out DKMD. That's quite interesting. And now that we have a bit of downtime, the power that this gridlock brings is so very astounding. Those track stingers can isolate an entire area. The pocket shotgun can get so much more done with that verticality as well as that destruction capability. And those smokes just get rid of line of sights as well. Gridlock is a really big powerhouse, and I'm really interested to see what Ottawa's going to do with her for the rest of the round.
Nacho baiting outside the window, trying to establish a pick. He does have information being facilitated by that drone, but JM Beast is going to deter that pressure using the Alda and all 82 bullets. And we're seeing Ottawa Grey start to stall out. They found themselves on the threshold of the bomb zone, or at least in the buffer hallways. And now you have to start to link up, not only use information, but leverage the utility, and particularly that nade. Dispatch it down towards 90, force away the St. Clair defense. And from there, Binks, you can once again establish control. But right now, Ottawa doesn't have the luxury to be sitting over in lamp. They have to be very active in this offense, and with bullets whizzing over their head, it's just forcing Ottawa in a more passive position. Here's Nacho on a tear, good for 2, but the default camera's still up, Binks, and that's relaying free information to St. Clair, and it's, again, kind of the calm before the storm. This is the slow push. You have to start to retrieve the diffuser, and remember, there are still Valkyrie cameras in play.
You talked about the information early on, and it has been absolutely pivotal this round. It's allowed for St. Clair to get into those key positions. And no, but that's a dead body, Nacho. He'll flick over to where the shots actually came from. C4 will be cooked out by Salty. Won't be able to connect. Now Kinger will be left inside a trophy. These defenders are spread apart, meaning that this is possible, but there is no case. We'll be able to get it down, but they don't have the case. They have 3 seconds. 2 looking around with the super shorty, but no. Smartly, Kinger's gone for the flank. All 3 main stairs, and that will be the first round going the way of the defenders.
That round was defined by one simple characteristic of Rainbow Six Siege, Father Time, and that clock element. It starts off with the 2K of Rapids sitting in a corner, and it was the rushed aspect of the Ottawa offense to really not mind their P's and Q's big, not check their corners with those drones, and with cold steel from behind, I mean, you can see how the round starts to degrade from there. Rapids able to convert that into a second kill. Sure, they get too greedy, ends up dying to the Maverick over by Master, but the death and the 2 kills that Rapid earned, I mean, it completely stalled out the Ottawa offense. They weren't really able to push past 90 because of the stance, once again, by St. Clair with the Alda to just rifle bullets down range and create this just wall of lead. And, well, Time, we described it as the motif of that round, and it once again strikes again with the diffuser isolated over in lamp.
Moving on to this second defense for St. Clair inside of Statue as well as Trophy. One thing I'm really looking for you, Ottawa, is to be able to use, one, that Flores of DJ. If you have to get right on in there, they're going to have to watch out for those mute jammers. But if those are properly taken care of, which they are possible, then we could see a lot of destruction capabilities. The info that Flores can take in combination now with the gridlocks, those can't be caught by any ADS. The Wamais, however, will be able to catch any sort of gridlock deployed. And look at this. Okay, Chief, I was talking about you Ottawa's approach, but I have to now go over to St. Clair. You talked about how deep their strat book is. We already see the Valkyrie setup using the information down below. So if they don't clear that out, that's going to be a free C4 kill, potentially, for St. Clair States, as well as their ability to extend and not overextend in a lot of situations. It looks like this defense is heavily focused around giving a false sense of security to you, Ottawa.
This is something I don't believe I've ever said on a broadcast before. We're actually over-droning the map, and you might be puzzling yourself. Chief, you always say everybody in Collegiate is under-droning. Yes, that usually tends to be a problem. The thing is, droning is useless if you don't follow it up instantaneously. So what that means is, if you don't have the 3-second rule where your primary entry is behind a drone, you're going to miss valuable information, because if you do find a roamer lurking on that first floor, that drone's going to identify, and then you can't convert that information to anything. All you say is, hey, there's a dude on the first floor, but you can't remove them. You have to complete your strategy by then executing downstairs, but you have to follow up with a drone. That's going to take at least 15 seconds, and all of a sudden you're starting to chase ghosts because those roamers are going to start to fall off. So it's absolutely critical that whenever you're droning, you have your primary entry or your secondary entry following up that drone to capitalize on that real-time information. With that being said, Ottawa has done a wonderful job of taking the control of the south side of the map, and now they're practically the doorstep of the bomb site.
They are. With a minute 30, it gives them a lot of time to maneuver and move around this entire site. But it is going to come with them getting the information. Those mute jammers are going to be a pivotal part now. If you're on the side of you, Ottawa, you want to make sure to annex a certain site to be able to isolate any sort of crossfire you have to deal with. To farther extend on that, this single-sided push that we saw taking over from Armory, or it's not Armory, Astronomy, you would need to make sure that you have a second push. You need to have either below, or you're going to see bedroom. But once again, holding those angles, waiting for the rotate is going to be extremely critical, as Tommy will get the opening frag onto JM Beast, the Maestro. So those cams are going to be a lot more dormant than usual.
You won't be able to tase off those cameras, but at least you can still gather information. Kinger was sitting prone in the Hallway? No, he was actually over in walk-in closet. So another knife kill for St. Clair, but they were able to remove Mute, at least temporarily. Their DB node, unlikely to get picked up at all. It's going to be way too much of an opportunity cost to do so. And with the bomb site practically compromised, the entire utility in the site starting to be knocked down one by one. Same thing can be said for St. Clair as his chairs loses their life. But what is Rapid doing? Elevated in the bathtub, his position in Master, it's kind of being vain, because he can't really do much right now. With the diffuser going down, the nitro cell will detonate, but it doesn't actually find the diffuser planter. And now Boy Jesus has to find a 3K. Pushes through Lamp, identifies one sitting close quarters, but the flank from behind, that's going to be the real threat. With the 416 with no ammunition in it, well, maybe a pea shooter there, Binks, because it's going to do no damage.
I think a pea shooter would have been better, because a pea shooter would have actually been able to shoot the peas. There's nothing that you could really do.
Well, I think you'd have to hope they have a pea allergy for that to,
Well,
hurt.
if you look at the Zofia, the pea shooter could have shot them, and they were so
And
lit
anger
up.
them?
Well, you know what? They were so lit up that I feel like there was a lot more underlying health issues that the peas could have caused, Chief. Thank you very much.
Like, good vision.
Eat your veggies, kids. That's the message that we're trying to get across here. Eat your veggies. They give you superpowers.
I think, unfortunately, St. Clair in that round, Bings forgot to eat their vegetables. And it all starts off with great time wasting on the side of St. Clair, right? They waste 2 minutes of that round, but with awkward positioning of JMB's Jake, he was, well, stuck in a corner, right? He is behind I guess that's a trophy or a statue. And he's kind of a dead man walking. We're talking about information, right? We talked about how effective droning works. Well, we can also see the other end of effective droning. If you can pinch a defender in a corner with your droning and kind of lock them in a spot, I mean, JM Beast ends up losing their life, because where are they going to go? They have to swing out that door frame or swing deeper into sight, and with a well-established cutoff like we saw the Ottawa offense, you find the opening kill with about 50-odd seconds left in that round, and from there you can start to maneuver your way into sight. I will say one caveat to the victory of Ottawa was the fact that they got knifed once again, and that's demonstrating to me that they're doing a very bad job of gathering information during the latter execute.
I think that's the hardest part, where you have such a need and urgency to get onto site and get that plant, that you forget to think about the efficiency of just taking that extra second. Click 5, get on those drones, see what present information you have. I didn't see, and I probably should have taken a look at the exact drone numbers at the end of the round. But once again, this same falter. Okay, now look, Rapid's been droned out. He shoots the drone. He shoots another drone. Those drones now can't be used for the rest of the round. He's looking quite carefully. But where is the push? He is now in another position. 3 drones now used on one defender. You've been able to take out his C4, shoot his C4. But look, 205, he's still alive. They will finally push him out. But Chief, at what cost?
And this is what we're talking about, right? You have to have somebody following that information, because if we were to see, an Akron or a Purdue-style collegiate roster, what they would have done, they would have had somebody in study, and they would have somebody pushing in through classical hallway, and you would have just 180 pinched, and you would have got wall banged. To be fair, I like the efficiency, though, of Ottawa. They're just little things that you can do to expedite the attack. And the thing with St. Clair Saints, Spinks, is they're going to be aggro 100% of the time. They're going to be ratting, they're going to be roaming like what Rapid did, and just because they were removed here at round 3, wasting 60 seconds on their roam, trust me, they'll be back at their shenanigans again.
They are. And Rapid, just to make sure Rapid know, I didn't hear an explosion either, so that is an interesting thing that happened within the round. Client-sided? Yeah. I didn't hear one either. Did you hear one?
No, so on his end, he heard the explosion because it detonated on his end, but the latency to the server, it didn't actually detonate.
Oh, DKM. Okay. That was actually a nice drone jump, too. I'm seeing so many interesting layered aspects to this game, and it's very refreshing. Both these teams are playing at the caliber where you're able to see such complexity in the round. Kinger on the mute now rather than the Valkyrie has done a sufficient job. Still holding down below. I'm interested to see if we'll see another C4 kill like the previous rounds. But these mute jammers have done a potent job, and the player of Kinger has done a potent job, as they're still holding down Mudry, meaning that the astronomy push is almost nullified.
You're going to have to start to move very quickly if you're a fan of the Ottawa roster. You have to start to push. 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're still kind of dealing with the main breach wall. That might be all foiled, though, as Salt Boy finds 2 kills on the flank, and DK has nothing to go for. Ends up getting smoke from 2 different angles, actually 3 different angles, multiple simultaneous swings. This is exactly the coordination that we'd expect out of a well-versed collegiate roster.
So if we really break down that round, we saw on the side of U Ottawa, they did the exact same thing, wasting time with the drones, and that was followed up by a phenomenal job on the side of St. Clair States, especially Rapid on that Mozzie, really denying that time. By the time I think he was killed, where we passed the 2-minute mark, or probably right around there at least, where it really hindered the push. And then there also wasn't a flank watch. I really liked when we saw that gridlock, because you throw those onto either stairs or hallway 90, and that makes it so you really have an audible cue when someone's pushing up. A nomad can be shot and you might not realize it. It all depends on your nomad placement, or they might be able to get creative getting around a nomad. But the thing about a gridlock is you can't get through without making noise, and there's really no counter to the noise you are making. I remember that was one of the most annoying things. Caviera mains were crying when gridlock was released.
I will say, though, I love Gridlock. She has Pocket Shotgun. She has Gone 6. Her F90 is pretty solid. The M249 Saw with a magazine not belt-fed is odd, but also equally good. I just will say the ARX of Nomad will forever be better, and flashbangs. Sure, smoke grenades are nice, but, man, you can't top that ARX. It is the best gun in game. It lasers with an ACOG. Whew! That thing is crispy. And I'm a one-time player. I'm a red dot player. So if you hear me hyping up an ACOG, anything that has more than... pardon me?
Oh!
No way!
Oh!
Good night. That's your hard breacher, your primary hard breacher on the board. Enough of Chief talking about his red dot supremacy. Let's talk about that Nitro Cell. Well landed, and now DKMD forced and relegated over to flank watch duty. Not all hope is lost, though, for the Ottawa offense. You still have the ability to leverage that Maverick to open up new lanes and new lines of sight into the bomb site, but efficiency at opening up walls will be greatly reduced, and also brilliant trade.
You see, you mentioned, I want to bring it back to the gridlock pick as well, as I do believe that could be an important part where they now have part of the map, they will be able to keep control, and Nomad can be a phenomenal pick, but it depends what role you have gridlock on. I remember a lot of team comps would choose, if you're having your support player play, if they're comfortable with Nomad, sure, they can take Nomad, but Gridlock can play that support role a lot better, where Nomad really focuses if you're putting your flex role onto that sort of Nomad type flank watch pick. So it all depends on the team comp, and currently where we have the Finca, Zofia, Maverick, as well as Nacho, it seems like we have Maverick as the flex, you have the Zofia as your entry, accompanied by Finca, interestingly enough, where it seems like a 2 flex, 2 support, 1 frag, with the flex really moving around with how they're able to play.
So update on the St. Clair defense. They're describing their mentality today, according to Rapid, as being not just aggressive, but arrogant. I think that's being well demonstrated by the Nitro Cell that we saw in this round, as well as an oopsie by the Wamai Pancake grabbing the nade. Great on the side of St. Clair's to start to realize where the pressure is coming from and place those My Pancakes early on in the round. Incredible defense by the side of JMB's 2 kills found with the Alda. And now, well, the other LMG wielding up, but this time an attack. Tommy forced to find 4. Low time left in this round, 60 seconds. You still have a drone to leverage, and Tommy will do exactly that with information found of the 4 members gun up. I think he finds himself in quite a pickle here, Binks, with multiple players running out. JMB's a bit aggro, and uh-oh, you're starting to feel Tommy. He's starting to heat up a bit, and now it's time to cool those jets, take a deep breath if you're a fan of St. Clair's, and allow Tommy to take that map control push into study and fight in that direction, because you can't just start to swing out like a madman. Unfortunately, though, Tommy doesn't take that advice and elects to hold W and shift with a handgun into the bomb site.
He was human. You got to give him credit there. He was a man on a mission. Unfortunately, even when you're on a mission, you got to slow down, and sometimes the scenic route is the right way to go. But now, 1-3 for St. Clair Saints. This is not a bad split yet for you, Ottawa Gray. They still have a chance to even it out 3-3. as well as get one more round, which would give them the 2-4 split most optimally. So if they win this round, which is now the tertiary bomb site for St. Clair State's living room and library. Have I missed something, Chief, or is that the new place to go?
New place to go is a bit of a stretch, but it's not a stretch in collegiate. Let's go back to Alabama Huntsville. It has a record of 9-10 on this bomb site, only losing it to Grand Canyon University recently within the past few months. Again, stable bomb site in collegiate. We saw it actually played a bit in SI. It's not quite the powerhouse as its sister site, also in the first floor of Kitchen, but expected to be seen more. And really what separates this bomb site from the other sites of the map is the long lines of sight that you have vertically upstairs in Gun Vault and Plains and Games.
You also need to acknowledge that if we were to go up a floor, have like our different map layout, I don't believe there's a single spot on this site that can't be seen from vertical play. Perhaps the most southwestern corner in the bottom left of your screen currently. But I remember so clearly that when I was trying to make a setup for this site, it was constantly worrying about, hey, we have to have that vertical control. And I think back to my memory, and it was an old Dark Zero setup where it was almost entirely above, and they would just open up the lines of sights and take control of them themselves. So the layers that you have to go to use the site are very interesting. And I mentioned upstairs, but I never mentioned downstairs because we don't see it that much because there's not really much vertical play going on down there because it isn't any.
I see one murder hole upstairs. Yeah, that's, pardon me, now two both in Gun Vault. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. And you are 100% right. It is the portion of the southeast side of the site that you really don't have a excellent line of sight on. A premature Nitrocell is going to miss. And since I love statistics and I'm a boring finance guy, I thought it'd be fair to mention Villa statistics at SI. Out of the 238 round played, 13 of them were on Living Room Library with only a 15% defending win rate. So not that bueno, all things considered, and actually might be the lowest win rate out of all the bomb sites in the 7-map pool. That is correct. It actually is the lowest win rate out of all all 7 maps with 4 bomb sites apiece, and that's being demonstrated by the opening death of Kinger, a precious Nitrocell off the board, to be fair, already used. And if there is any shining light to the fact that Kinger has lost their life, it's the fact that the gumball machines they place throughout the map will still be active, ready to heal any teammates or attackers if they get near it.
Second Nitro being cooked out. That's the last one on the round. It won't be any good. Nacho to find Salty. And that's your Jaeger off the board. One of your top fraggers in a lot of scenarios. And now that you hear all of this damage, you hear Sledge's breaching hammer breaking right through the floor. You know, as a defender on St. Clair, that your entire roof is basically on fire.
There might be fire coming out of an SMG-11 momentarily. No flank being watched. Rapid finds a kill. Now forced to hightail it back down the main stairs with JM Beast finding a kill. That's the trade to neutralize 3v3. And the vertical's still established, but you've lost that sledgehammer. And unfortunately, Tommy has elected to run a Claymore instead of flat place breaching charges. So the only way to really increase your surface area from a bomb is through the R60 drones. I guess there's another option to that, Binks. That could be just straight up winning your gunfights with 2 under the belt of Ottawa. Where has Rapid gone? Good for one, lines up the second, but there's another one pushing down the stairs. A fast reload and a headshot, and Rapid will clutch the round. A 4K for them. Incredible map placement, incredible crosshair placement, being unpredictable as possible.
Even with the third-person perspective, we have wall hacks. We can see exactly where they are. I still didn't see Rapid come. I didn't see it coming. I almost completely wrote off St. Clair for the round, but they took advantage. We talked about how the southwestern side has 0 coverage as far as vertical play goes. He played into that. He did a phenomenal job. He just went right into the hole, and he used it to the best of his ability, and it paid off. Now they have a chance at a 5-1 split, which for St. Clair would be absolutely phenomenal on the defensive end of Villa. But I will hand it over to our statistician chief to see what is the normal split for Villa.
That's going to cost you $25 to ask for free statistics.
Chief.
Fine. I'll be nice.
I'll give you 25 Canadian.
Okay, done. Easy. So,
except it's not going to matter to you.
We can do Canadian. I'm not. I like Canadian. I'm an honorary Canadian. I've been promoted according to CCL. I'm an official Canadian after all, and I'm the only American in the Canadian group chat. And I was actually one of the first people invited to Canadian group chat. So I think
I'm
I'm
not even in the group
Canadian-ish.
chat. Not cool, Chief.
Unfortunate. But, my friend, to answer your question, there were 21 plays at SI on Villa with a total defending win rate of 54. 238 rounds were played. The most defendable bomb site was Planes and Games, or as I call it, AVG, with a 58 percent defending win rate, 101 rounds played. Statue, the next defendable bomb site at 56%, 66 plays, and Kitchen Dining, 52% defending win rate and 58 rounds played. Honestly, how close Trophy and Kitchen are to each other, honestly, those bomb sites, to me, at least from the statistics, are almost interchangeable and within the margin of error of 4%. Honestly, if you were cunning enough or enterprising enough, you might be able to kind of mix up your bomb site rotation. But something else that should be mixed up is the opening death, because Kinger finds themselves removed early on once again.
Well, thank you for those stats. If you're able to follow any of them, I felt like I was stuck in a lecture where I was sitting in and didn't actually have the class notes.
Like your econ.
Yes, Chief, you don't need to remind me about econ every single day. It's already in my nightmares, but also in the nightmares is going to be Rapid. He has a C4, 9 kills, giving him a 3.0 KD with his 3 deaths. So if you are Ottawa, you're going to be very fearful. But look at this, the round and map control that we saw previously from Ottawa Gray is gone. They haven't been able to take nearly as much as they have previously. And Chief, I don't know where they are, because it doesn't look like they're in the building.
No, not at all. And I am concerned, though, because we saw Rapid find multiple aces. Actually, not multiple aces. An ace in round number 1 of Coastline in the previous week, and then a 4K with almost an ace, but they actually ended up dishing out about 95 damage, and JMB stole that final kill in round 2. So 9 kills across 2 rounds in the previous week back on Coastline. And, well, with the heat that Rapid has brought over the past 6 rounds, I am terrified. Doesn't matter if he has an MP7 or a Nitro Cell. The dude is heating up, and his arrogant plays, as they like to refer to it as, is quite gnarly.
We've seen it rotate now from Ottawa. They've gone almost entirely towards bedroom. I can't see too clearly. It does look like it is a bit of a split push. But with how much they've given up, this split is going to come at a time where the defenders, if played properly, will be able to isolate each of these angles. And it's going to be able to cut down each of their respective attackers coming their way. Rapid now going for the late round flank. There is possibly no gridlock on Red Stairs as it was not established. Charles to find the first opening kill within the last 30 seconds onto DJ. And there it goes, your Flores. We know OK Sure has the case in their hands. They're able to go for that plant, but they are nowhere near the site. They have to have solidified control. They're swinging out. There's Case down, thanks to JM Beast. Swinging around, he'll try to find a second one, but DKMD is going to be able to recover it. 3 seconds to go, they'll begin the plant, but it's denied by Rapid, the absolute gunner. And there you go. St. Clair States will take the half, 5-1, once again off of time.
Extremely dominant performance by the Saints here in the first half of Villa. Honestly, Binks, what it looks like is just team play and the ability to simply win those gunfights. And that's where Ottawa is lacking. Let's go back to the one round that they ended up winning in Trophy. Well, that was because Ottawa had good gunplay. That was the round where they simply won their gunfights. And if we start to analyze the other 5 rounds, it's been St. Clair establishing the pace, something that you were talking about earlier on when we started round number 1 here at Villa. And from there, I mean, St. Clair Saints are kind of all over the place. They are just taking gunfights, springing up like a jack-in-a-box, and the next second, they're at another part of the map, once again doing exactly that. And Ottawa was unable to track down the aggression of the St. Clair Saints.
I'm not even going to ask you for the stat because I like to think that Fuse is a very rare operator to see still. Rapid.
I can give it to you if you want, my friend.
Chief, I'm broke. I can't pay you another $25. Can this one be on the house?
Sure, I'll have it on the house. Actually, I don't have statistics on the rate of Fuse. I can say that they have less than a 3% pick rate, though. That's why I don't have stats on it.
Exactly. Chief, Rapid taking this Fuse could be absolutely huge or one of the biggest blunders we've seen today? Because where exactly are they going to be deploying these cluster charges, and
They're
what
not.
is the point of clearing it?
They won't be.
Oh, they're
It's for
using
the
the Finka
LMG.
boost. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you haven't been following the current meta, it's currently called LMG Bonanza for a particular reason. It's because the offense is required to bring out 2 LMGs. It's usually the Fink LMG, which Kinger currently has active, and well, technically the Fink LMG is the Fuse LMG, but for simplicity's sakes, we're going to separate them. And you usually bring out your LMGE on the Zofia, which we saw Ottawa bring out on their offensive stint last half, but this is just going to be an aggressive stance from St. Clair. Surprise, that's what they do best, but the difference is going to be, are they capable of winning their gunfights? They're starting off their drones, but there might be a lurker ready to spring into action, vaulting out the window. Honestly, if Jaeger went for it, I actually think they're going to win that gunfight. Here they go! And Nomad has no idea! Almost a whiff, though. Salty Boy Jesus is going to be angry after that one. They get traded by Kinger. Well done for St. Clair to react to that, but an absolute misplay to start the second half.
And you talked about that Nomad previously, of how potent they are. The ARX, very solid rifle, and it did do a solid chunk of damage to OK Sure. But regardless, there is no denying that Nomad off the board means these flanks could once again be a very, very hard thing to deal with.
So, we see the strategy being utilized once again by Ottawa. It's the aggressive stance over by 90. Rapid just face-checking corners. No information, no roly-poly drone. This is actually going to put St. Clair's in a very awkward position because they're not going to have real-time information. It's not going to stop them from just YOLO swinging it, and somehow Jake, Jay, and Beast is going to simply win that gunfight. A gunfight they probably shouldn't have won in the first place, and now Ottawa Grey on the bomb site, kind of their backs against the wall. They still have a decent amount of utility. You have one Valkyrie camera in play, which I guess you can use as an information source if the plant goes down, but more crucially, only 2 smoke grenades to cover for 20 seconds, and there's 60 seconds left in the round.
Well, I believe we could see an explosive play at best. But you mentioned these LMGs. They are coming up absolutely huge now, and they have gotten into position. This entire site seems to be in the grasp now of St. Clair Saints, but it's just a matter of how they will be able to monopolize the control.
A standoff downstairs over in Living Room Library, a bomb site that St. Clair once used back in round 5, and Rapid seems to have a hunch that there might be somebody still lurking on by. The hunch is confirmed, but their forehead is now missing, and St. Clair's have to spring into action. Not a lot of time left, and that spring is going to be facilitated by Kinger, who gets shut down for the long angle of hallway, and now an AK-12 forced to find 3. Share's good for 1, but a toxic gas grenade in their way. They're going to have to go to something unique. And that uniqueness is going to come from a sprint into study, out of all places.
Not really what you expected, especially considering they had case. It seemed like they could have played a little bit more conservatively, but it did have a little bit of possibility. They had the opportunity to go isolate a frag and then move back into sight. But regardless, that is a whole bunch of theory crafting. I'd rather theorize about how Uwato was able to hold that to such a great degree, and I personally believe it came from their ability to just hold strong, especially on those plays downstairs, mimicking what we saw from Rapid.
You know what I think it comes down to is a conversation that we had at the start of the game before we even got into the game. It was discombobulation, right? If you kind of get run out on, you have Salt Boy Jesus, your Nomad smoked off the rip. It's very difficult to reorientate yourself and kind of go back to what you are doing, because when you're a 5-man roster attacking, you have certain lineups. Who's droning and who's entering, and usually that Nomad is going to be taking the burden of being the primary droner, secondary droner, or flank watch in that series. With her dead, you no longer have the ability to have her as one of those 3 players in the active portion of that round. You have to subsidize it through somebody else, and it's usually going to be your flex or your secondary entry to drone, and that is probably one of the hardest things to orchestrate as an IGL, and from there it just slows down time because you have to be really shouting and barking those orders to get somebody who's not really accustomed to being a primary droner entering into the fray of being a droner.
I always like to highlight that support players, whenever you see a support player clutch, I think it's one of the best things to ever see. Because they're playing off next to no information. They don't really have it. Okay, sure. also going for an aggressive run out. And honestly, Chief, those are probably one of my favorite things to see. And especially for OK Sure, like using their ability to know how to ride a unicycle, I think it really contributes to them being able to go for those key runouts.
Did you read their player statistics or pardon me, fun facts?
Don't take this from me, Chief. Don't take this from me.
I don't
Yes, I
know if
did.
they're a
Yes, I did.
professional unicycler. Oh, I know how to ride a unicycle. I mean, to be
Yeah!
honest with you, I would have, if I ever attempted to ride a unicycle, I would fall on my face and get hit by a truck. Like, I don't have the coordination to be able to do so.
I think putting someone with vertigo on a bicycle would not be a good idea either. But I think it would be a nice contest if we both tried to go on a unicycle at the same time. Who would get dizzy and fall off first?
So,
Regardless. Oh, go
okay,
ahead.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
statistics problem. Not statistics, a physics problem for you. Does the centrifugal force and the gyroscopic nature of a wheel spinning on a bicycle increase extra stability when you have two wheels compared to one?
No.
So, okay, so two wheels creates or is better for balance. I'm talking about like again when the wheels spin, right? That's why motorcycles don't fall down when they're riding or you're going faster because of that centrifugal force. So if you have one wheel, does it change that aspect? All else equal, ceteris paribus. Anyways, beside the point, we'll talk about physics later. St. Clair Saints seem to be occupying a bomb site right now. Shears is going for the plant, and we saw Nitrocell Bonanza a few seconds ago, but they've absolutely missed, and Nacho, the only one left, forced to do the impossible, 1v5 clutch post plant, unlikely to happen, and as the offense starts to swarm around them, it doesn't look great for them.
Where did that physics problem come from, Chief?
Well, you talked about unicycles, and my ADHD 3 brain cells thought of that, man. Like, I don't know.
I've had a long day. I didn't want to do more thinking. But wow, chat, I'm not going to answer that because I'm wrong enough when casting this game. You guys can debate that one in chat.
I need
Really-
somebody smart to answer the question, and I'm clearly not it.
I'll focus on the one thing I do have a better grasp on, and that was this game. Last round, it was once again convincingly going towards St. Clair States. And I'm interested. Now that puts them on match point. But how will that affect their mentality? Will they now be able to play even more aggressive? Because we noticed that even in those 1v5 situations, 1v4, they were really throwing the man away. So I'm interested to see what type of strategies or changes to that aggression from St. Clair Saints you expect to see, Chief.
I'm expecting them just to continue to YOLO. That's what I want. Or not what I want, but that's what I expect, right? They're aggro at all fronts. They're going to just be simply using those drones to take map control in a fast manner, and when they have the opening pick, and that's the crucial part, they're just going to flood site like they did the previous round.
That does seem like a plausible way to go about things, but if you're on the side of you, Ottawa, a Rooney is a very smart way to be able to try and manage this in combination with the smoke. I think smoke's potency is being forgotten by many, is that when smoke is in play as well as a Finca, it means that if that Finca boost is active while going in through any toxic gas, you are taking an immense amount of damage. And I remember, I don't know if they've changed it, nerfed it, but it does a lot. You are losing your health just like that. It's gone.
It's 15 a tick rate, I believe. It's been a while since I've actually remembered what the statistics are for the smoke tick rate, but I believe it's about 15. Okay is in an awkward position, now confirmed, sent 6 feet under. I like the use of the entire map, and surprise, if you're newer to Villa, there actually is a basement. Very seldomly selected by defenders, usually an insertion point for attackers. Demonstrated in this round being since St. Clair's, their insertion point not only gathers the map control, but it finds them the opening kill, and Rapid is about to push into site. And that was stopped relatively swiftly, like it should have been.
DJ, now seen here reminiscing about his time editing videos for your boy Roy, and thinking about he can get some clips of his very own right here and now. It is the time to clutch up. They have been able to get it back down to even man power. DKMD also watching down this central alleyway using Astronomy's exterior wall towards skylight, I guess we could call that, quite brilliantly. And Tommy with the flank, it does seem like a very clear focus on denying any sort of push through red stairs.
And imagine a world where Rapid didn't just, I don't know, walk into the bomb site all willy-nilly. You'd actually be able to hold your flank better. I guess you technically can if Rapid was, I don't know, on a flank drone, but they're not. They're spectating their teammate. They're actually spectating shares right now, so Rapid is providing little information from the ghoul state, as we'll refer to it as. Kinger, on the other hand, is crouch-walking sneaky beaky. Identified a deployable shield, and behind that shield, or underneath the shield, I should say, is a soft floor. One nade from below, and Nacho will be found, but seems like St. Clair is not willing to use that utility because they've used it elsewhere. Banks, so that utility has to come up from the gun-up play, and Kinger is going to attempt exactly that. DB a note, please check your corners, and DXMD finds a second kill in this round. The offense starting to stall off, and those deployable shields are still going to be their bane. An excellent use of the Selma charge, deals with that fixed position, and Salty Boy Jesus in the bomb site with the diffusers over by Master. That needs to start to push towards the bomb site. Shares knows this all too well, but with 3 defenders looking in the door frame, the red pings that Shares has will not be enough. The heads-up gunfight will be a DB no into 1, but Tommy's swing will be better than that.
No surprise there. Good use to have the C4 as a possible precaution. Quite worrisome if it was spotted out, but you saw the Aruni pushing up, meaning they were entirely ready to play the cross angle there, which is almost securing your win on the round. Then again, you could have rotated back to play time, which I do believe is what Tommy's main goal was. But now, 3-6, still favoring St. Clair, but it is now 3 less rounds that they have to accomplish.
What we're going to see out of Rapid is to tone down the arrogance that he likes to talk about all the time and play together a little bit more structured and play together more as a team, right? Because the death of Rapid was just honestly dumb and unnecessary, to say the least. And St. Clair knows it all too well, and that's just kind of the mentality of the St. Clair team, is they like to do really, really dumb things, and honestly, they get away with it far too often, which probably perpetuates why they do really dumb things. But in the previous round, round number 9, they get punished as a result. The 4v5 is almost impossible to break, and you can kind of see the byproducts of it, the dividends that were sown as soon as Rapid died, right? It's the push up the Astro stairs. So with that being logged in the back of the minds of the esports admin team at the side of St. Clair's, you know what? Just push together as a team. If you're going to do some crouch, walkie, sneaky, beaky, dumb stuff, please do it as a team.
I have to wonder right now, what is worse? Playing all smart as individuals or playing collectively ridiculous as a team? What do you believe prevails?
So, I can actually answer your question with a real-world team. Let's go back to E United. The roster that defined themselves as being so unpredictable they're impossible to play against until they became so unpredictable that they became predictable, right? When you look at it from hyper extremes, like from your question, right? If you're 100% big brain, that 100% big brain at some point will become predictable. Look at Dark Zero right now, where they're constantly big braining. Or look at E United when they were a roster. They were so discombobulated and incorporated absolute madness into their offenses and just were running out and doing dumb things. It became predictable. So to truly answer your question, you do both.
Well, I think that's exactly what we've seen so far from St. Clair States, where we see that perfect balance of ridiculous unpredictability, but then also, once again, it is starting to be learnt, as Tommy demonstrates using that Valkyrie cam and C4 to great success. Now swinging out, trying to find a second one. Tommy will be able to do so. Goodbye to JM Beasts. And they now have a lot more of leeway as they go towards the final minute and 30 seconds. Rapid, the gunner, is getting ready and is actually deploying a drone. Chief, what is this? This looks like a big brain play.
Pardon? What term did you use? I'm not familiar with drone.
Ash on a drone.
Yeah, that just does not
never mind.
compute.
They're off. I think
that
that's like
makes
a 2-second
sense.
thing.
Yeah, Ash is just don't drone, because Ashes actually have an allergy to droning. What they don't have an allergy to, my dear friend, is clicking heads. Unfortunately, one player on the other side of the wall, but an opportunity for Rapid to capitalize, and that's going to be the player of Ottawa taking an aggressive stance over by the bookshelves, the classical hallway. A pre-fire from Rapid's going to miss their shots, and well, here's a stage that's going to be set from the Ottawa defense right now, Binks. You have just about everybody isolated over in planes and games as well as into study. And St. Clair's, what they need to do is they need to start to push from a different vector. They have two players coming in from the north, or you can just have Rapid walk into side. It doesn't pay a single bit of dividends, so they're not going to be able to cash out of that policy. And now it seems like it's Cher's turn to do exactly that. But where is the pinch? You need to have Kinger push in from the other side of the map and kind of establish that pinch. Go for a 180-degree crossfire and force the gun barrels of Ottawa to change directions. With the death of Kinger, that's just not going to be an option anymore. Shares has to go nuclear. Unlikely for this AK-12 to find all 5 players, but they'll certainly try their hardest. It's going to be in vain as the SMG-11 of DJ will conclude the offensive stint here in round 10.
Now only 2 rounds to go for you, Ottawa Gray, as they actually are staring down the barrel of possibly bringing this back. 2 rounds, like I just said. They have dining. This is going to be possibly the hardest one. This is the make or break of the game. If they are able to hold down on this first floor site, then we can easily see them go back up to the second floor and defend that with great success. And we can't forget to talk about the momentum that comes from this. On this defensive site, based on the composition, I'm going to be expecting to see a lot more of a extension to start off, followed up by a big amount of C4s. I don't know if Goyo has access to a C4 still currently, but it does look like they are attempting to play for time and a false sense of security on the side of the Saints.
Low sample size for the statistic, but 2 out of the 3 rounds that we've seen on the offensive stint of St. Clair, it has been the opening death of Saltboy Jesus twice now in the Nomad, and that's just not a comfortable place for them to be in, right? Like, you're losing one of your most important operators. We touched upon that point earlier, but Saltboy Jesus should not be the player that is in the line of sight or in the line of fire early on. So I think right now for St. Clair, they need to adjust their aggression. And I think that's going to be really in the back pocket of Rapid, who seems to be timing their gunfights in an unpredictable and almost chaotic manner, and not chaotic in a good way. We see Rapid just kind of walk into the bomb site willy-nilly, random-like, but I don't really see them taking charge, being that player who is the true entry and taking the map control away from Ottawa University Grey, or the University of Ottawa, because it's somebody else. In this case, it's been Saltboy Jesus multiple times in a row, so with that miscommunication established now twice by St. Clair, that's something that they have to adjust now going on to the tertiary bomb site.
Early stages in this push will demonstrate great use of intel. Rapid staying on the rappel is a smart choice. They were looking in through pantry, and now they are able to go for one of an aggressive push, jumping back down. It seems like madness to me, Chief. But DJ is here to get it covered, as that cardiac sensor is clearly absorbing a plethora of information, and the nade won't even work to open up that castle barricade. Highly unfortunate, but now DJ is spotting out the heartbeat of the Ayana, looking to push into laundry.
Why wasn't a GON 6 used, Mr. Kinger? If you are running a handgun instead of a GON 6, shame on you. Utility is paramount here in Rainbow Six Siege, and honestly, secondary weapons like the handguns aren't as important as their utility counterpart. But I do believe that the castle barricade has now been dealt with, allowing an avenue into sight, but the Pulse was target focused downstairs. That was DJ playing that operator. But what about the shenanigans that are taking place upstairs in that top floor? 2 players of St. Clair Saints has lost their lives throughout that endeavor, and now they kind of have to start to grab at straws during this round, Binks. You're going to have to start to say, hey, what is my prioritization? Do I just execute it aside, or do I try to take this vertical play at the opportunity cost of not dealing with a roamer? DJ has lost their life. Oh, that's because of the flank that's taking place. Memo control for Kinger now, and the bomb site's actually fully exposed. OK, sure is going to be forced to rotate away, and I don't believe that they have a lot of information. They can hear the audio cues of the attackers upstairs, and Saltboy Jesus had a struggle so far, and they're going to continue on their struggle fest.
Now leading towards the final minute of play, what could be our final round here on Villa, unless you Watto Gray has something to say about, and that's going to be in the hands of the defenders of Nacho, as well as OK Sure. They have site control from the Goyo as well as the late round flank from OK Sure. Now, interestingly enough, Chars has not gone for any sort of plant. They are stuck in more of a stalemate as they are waiting for one to push out. There's the spray. Chars, safe to go for the plant. C4 in the hand of Nacho will be cooked. Thrown out. Detonated is going to be caught on debris, not looking for the crossfire. Kinger to find a triple kill, looking for 4, and he'll find it. St. Clair Saints will be able to win the first map out. Very valiant effort from you, Ottawa, but it will not be enough.
A brilliant read there by Kinger to stand out in that final round. I mean, excellent execution there, reading into the defense, understanding that Mimo was vulnerable, finding 2 kills throughout that push, dealing with that pulse, and from there the bomb site was ripped open, and you can go straight in for that plant, go straight in for the entry. Well done to St. Clair through that execute. It's exactly what we'd expect out of that St. Clair. The levels of aggression that they bring is something that University of Ottawa has struggled out throughout Villa, and I have some more concerns. Villa, that was the map choice of Ottawa. So we have saw that dominant performance on Villa. What does that mean for Clubhouse, the map choice of St. Clair?
I think it's going to really come down to you, Ottawa, being able to take control of the map and say, this is ours. We are making our stand here rather than allowing it to come to sight, or when they're, especially when they're on the attacking side, coming at a push that from more than one way, and especially that drone information. That's going to be the biggest point. You want to make sure that you have someone following up on that information, as we saw so clearly on the round where Rapid was able to take out 3 drones before being able to taken out by the Ash, including a client-signed sound bug. But regardless, Chief, I think it's a great time to take a 5-minute break. And when we come back, Clubhouse, don't go anywhere.
Online tickets directly from your school's website. Scan digital or printed tickets with the Hometown Gate app. And get immediate access to ticket revenue with real-time reporting. At no cost to your school. It's that easy to bring touchless ticketing to your hometown. Hometown. Fast scans, happy fans.
A million people in the crowd, but I only see your face in all the lights. And as the bass keep pounding on me, baby, I really wanna make you mine. I don't really care about love. I don't really care about happy ever after. Something about you gives me